Good morning. Happy Saturday morning, everybody. What's going on, Larry?
Oh, why do I? This is a daily occurrence now. I'm kind of getting used to this, Darrell.
It is. Well, I think that's a lot of the reason why we're here is so I mean, everybody that made it through the challenge. First of all, congratulations and all of that. You made it through the 10-day challenge. This is going to be, it was so much fun. Good to see our friend Brian here this morning. Happy weekend, community. That's right. The word doesn't
It is a
stop.
happy weekend, Brian. It is.
But you know what? For everybody that made it through the challenge, and everybody that the community that formed out of this, I just want to say a huge, thank you. But also, Larry, this has exceeded my expectations in terms of the people and the friendships and the encouragement and all of it that came out of this was spectacular. Way even beyond the presenters and the things that we learned.
What was interesting is right before we went live, Darrell, I'm watching a video of Joe Jacoby, and I know what video you're talking about. And
Yeah.
he was a speaker in both, right? He was a speaker in ours, and he was a speaker in another's. And they were both 10-day challenges. And what was interesting in his video, he said one was put on by technology people and one was put on by salespeople.
You're like, guess which one? You know what? I'm
Guess
proud
which
though.
one ours was.
For two sales guys putting on a conference. Not only did we only have two technology crashes when your power went out, and my laptop crashed yesterday. The important thing was the show went on, and that was good. Hey, welcome everybody this morning. Let me just key everyone in and level set as to why we're here and what we're going to do in the 30 minutes that we have together. What we want to do this morning is give you an overview, share from our hearts what we're cooking up and what we're excited about with the 90-day authentic selling intensive. We'll be here to answer any questions as well as we go through. And I know some of you are here live, and welcome. We're glad you're here this morning with us. And for those of you who are watching in later, welcome as well. And but our heart this morning is to share the vision behind the authentic selling intensive and all of that. But all of this came out of this past 2 weeks with this incredible community. And I think one of the things, Larry, I kept hearing from people in the chat over and over again is, I don't want this to end.
I was watching it. In fact, I'm going to give him a shout out. I was watching a video that Michael Cardello did, and he did his last video on Friday, Darrell.
Yeah,
yesterday. And he goes, oh, he almost didn't say, I don't want it to end, but he goes, I don't know what I'm going to do with my lunch now, because for the last 10 days, this has been my lunch hour. And I'm kind of getting used to it.
Well, it has been good. And you know what? We want to continue this journey. And that became evident very early on in this. And when we said all the way through with the Authentic Selling Challenge, this all began as an idea last fall. Larry, you and I were sitting together going, what can we do to start the year off with a bang? We knew it was going to be a big year. We knew it was critical that we made the turn. We had no idea, I think, how interesting the month of January was going to end up being. But we knew that we wanted to start the year with something special, because, it's going to take a special effort. It's going to take a different approach to be successful in uncertainty, like Meredith taught us a couple days ago. And so out of that, we went from a webinar to a conference to say, let's do a challenge. Let's see if we can bring some of our favorite people to the table. And we've gotten to hang out for the last 10 days with some of our favorite thought leaders. And it's been truly incredible. But all of it has been encouraging. And I think we've all taken a lot of notes. But the real question is, how are we going to take action?
Yeah, and before we start talking about action, there's somebody that's near and dear to me. You know who this person is, and I want to just single out Mark Hunter just for a quick second, because I think this will encapsulate and put a bow on this, Darrell. Yes. I remember the day after the book my book Selling from the Heart came out, and Mark calls me on my cell phone. And he goes, hey, have you seen your book sales? And I said, no, not really. I haven't really been tracking it. He goes, oh my gosh, you should see what's happening. He goes, but I want to give you a little bit of tip. And Mark's near and dear to me. He's been a mentor to me forever. He says, Larry, he goes, if you really want to bring your book to life, then do something with it. get the message out there. And Darrell, I'm proud of what we've accomplished over the last, 3+ years. The book's only been out, 2.5, but it's bringing the book to life. And the last 10 days, I could really see how the book's come to life with the community, with the collaboration, with everything that we've done. And now it's time to put this into action.
Yeah. And, really what's happened out of this, and I think this
Hey, Jackie, that was so good. I had to say that. That was so good.
It is so
Sorry,
good,
I'm
Jackie.
catching the chat and trying
We're
to
watching the chat. It's so fun. I love this platform. And when we get in the intensive, we're all going to be face to face and live inside Zoom. And all of it. The chat inside the sessions this week has been fantastic. But really, when you look at what's happening right now around authenticity and what the motion that was building out of the book and out of the challenge is a movement. And this is what we need in the sales world right now. We need a movement of authenticity in a profession that's known for anything but authenticity. And the people that are here inside the challenge and the people that are wanting to take the next step, who else is going to do this? We're the ones bringing authenticity to this profession. And the movement is so exciting. And movement by definition is action. We got to turn this into action.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, just recently we had Fred Diamond on the Selling from the Heart podcast, and we were talking about it. And Fred actually hit on the words empathy and authenticity. And he said, look at over the past year, how many times those words have been used, but they've just been said. Right. We've been talking about it a lot, but now it's time to put it into action. And I always say authenticity is a lifestyle. It's not a light switch. It's not just something you wake up in the morning on and say, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to try being authentic today and see how that works.
And that's where we want to go with the Authentic Selling Intensive. And we were thinking about how can we put something together based on the feed.
Oh, that was good. And Darrell actually drops. That's super exciting. So I'm just going to go through the chat real quick because he probably accidentally clicked out of the studio. There you go.
Surprise, Larry.
I thought me. Okay. I thought you're spoofing on me for a second, but I go, you probably clicked yourself out of the studio.
Something happened, but I'm back. But all of this was
that dial up in Little Rock, Arkansas.
There you go. Hey, it's good. We got the internet last month just in time for the challenge. It's really good. But this is where we wanted to share our heart. Thank you, Jackie. I love putting Larry on the spot. And this is where we wanted to just take a deeper dive into what we're thinking here. And a lot of this came out of the challenge and came out of the conversations we've been having over the last couple of weeks, and as well as the conversations we've been having inside the Insiders group over the last 6 months, really. But this concept of private transformation precedes public victory. I'm so excited about the intensive because we're going to combine the two. And it is very rare. I don't think I've ever seen a sales development program that's done both at the same time. And I'm so excited about combining the private transformation with the public success components of this.
Well, it goes back to, most sales training that's out there, and we're not here to point fingers at sales training because all sales training is needed and it's applicable, but it always focuses on the skill set part of this. And I think we all agree that it's just something that we can set that aside just for a second, but it's when we focus on ourselves. And that's where, I love that you're a big Stephen Covey fan and bringing this to life because these are things, quite frankly, we don't even talk about in sales.
Well, and that's it's so funny. It's so ironic, actually, because everybody in sales would say, yeah, people buy from people. Yet we wholesalely neglect in the sales world our hearts, and that's where this all begins. If you don't have the heart capacity, if there's blockage in the heart, if there are parts of your heart that are stuck, it's you.
I'm going to a book. I'm going to a book reference.
I see it.
I'm going to a book reference, Darrell. I'm going to drop a quote on you in a second, but keep going.
Watch out, Larry. Watch out. But this is where I realized I realized actually it was the Sunday before we started this whole challenge, was with all of the stuff going on between in my life, in the world, with the disappointment of 2020, and ranging from things I had to cancel to even death and a suicide of a friend. There were so many parts of my heart that were shut down coming into this year.
Yeah.
And I realized that if I was going to show up and be present for the challenge, let alone my family, my clients, and my coworkers, I had to free up space in my heart. So I started that journey. I was just conscious of it, and this is, building that heart capacity. I think is going to be something really, really powerful. Good morning, Derek. It's great to see you.
Hey, Darrell, good to see you, and good to see Tegmeyer.
So Larry's about to drop a quote on us.
I'm dropping a quote. I love quotes. I mean, I geek out. Darrell's a geek, but I geek out on quotes. But it was right before the challenge started, and it was on a Sunday morning, and Darrell drops me a text, and he drops me the text, and it's the cover of John Eldridge's book, Get Your Life Back. And if there's anyone who knows me really well, it's Mr. Darrell Amy. And so I go ahead, and just so I don't have to hear the chewing in my ear, I get the book and I'm just devouring the book, but it just plays on where we're going with this, because there's chapter 6 of this, and I'm just going to nail it. Just share this quote real quick, because it's about kindness towards ourselves. And this is where we're going with this. And it's all starting at the heart. John Eldridge goes on to say this: the difficult truth we don't want to admit is this: the way you treat your own heart is the way you'll end up treating everyone else's. Now think about that for a second. And that one kind of stopped me dead in my tracks. And that's why I'm a big believer that every day, and those who know me well, every day I work on my heart. Mm-hmm. Because if I don't, it's hard for me to be present with my clients out there.
Yeah, so we're going to work on that. We're going to take some deep dives in that, and it's going to be, I think, really foundational, because it begins with the heart, it continues with the mind, and a huge part of all of this private transformation is, and everything you're going to see in a moment is going to land in a plan and a cadence of action, because as Jack Hubbard so eloquently said, authenticity is nothing without action. So we'll look at our minds, and part of that's just mindset. Part of that, though, is also developing and executing a plan to stretch our minds so that we can bring value. And I thought what Meredith had to say in terms of the reality is what people were buying 6 months ago is different than what they're buying now, is different than what they'll be buying in 6 months. And we've got to be in tune. We got to be sharp, and we've got to be bringing insights and ideas to the table. And to do that, we're going to work together to grow our mental capacity. And then last but not least, and maybe one of the most important things, especially as we're now here in the new year on the 23rd of January, which is about when all of us quit our New Year's resolutions. Is, I don't know if there's data on that.
I didn't even come up with any New Year's resolutions other than to stop drinking for 30 days.
There you go. Well, my resolution was to come to the Selling from the Heart Challenge. But if you look at or the Authentic Selling Challenge, if you look at the energy side of things, and we're going to take some of the ideas, concepts that we learned from Joe, and from the ideas around managing our energy and recovery, and we're going to learn from each other and from practice what it takes to make sure that we can show up and be very present, not only for our clients, but also to have enough energy and reserve at the end of the day so we can show up for our loved ones and our families. And all of that is the private transformation side of this. And I'm excited because that's going to be woven through every aspect of the 90-day intensive. And we're really looking forward to that. And by the way, as you go, if you have any questions, you're welcome to drop them in the chat. Or if you're watching later, drop them directly to
I'm just watching the love affairs that are going on between everyone in there. So that's kind of cool.
Well, it is really cool. And I think that's going to be, when we'll talk about more of the content here from the public success side. But one of the things that I'm really looking forward to on this journey over 90 days is the community and the camaraderie and everybody working together on this. We'll talk about how we're going to facilitate that. But when we look at the public side of things, private transformation precedes public success. There's relationships, there's value, and I want to talk about action separately. But Larry, the relationship side of this is an area where, especially as budgets get tighter, uncertainty is here. We've got to figure out how to navigate and deepen. I loved I want to keep quoting Meredith this morning, but I thought what she had to say was so relevant. She said, go back to your current clients and deepen those relationships and ask them the questions, because it's those relationships and that network that is going to be what propels you with both the connections and the insights to be able to grow your business in 21 and beyond.
I always say there's gold sitting in your client base.
Mm-hmm.
There's absolute gold. We need to mine it. And I know everyone's going to agree with us, Darrell, that relationships mean everything to salespeople.
Mm-hmm.
But our challenge is what are you doing with those relationships? Are those relationships at a surface level, or are those relationships well below the surface? Mm-hmm. And a case in point is we would have a hard time putting on the 2021 Authentic Selling Challenge if the relationships that we had with these speakers weren't where they were at.
Oh, no question.
And I'm just using this as an example for everyone out there. Is your clients are willing to help,
mm-hmm.
but you have to invest in it. You have to be willing to deepen those relationships, which means you have to be intentional and proactive with how you build those relationships.
Yeah, so we're going to we're bringing out the exact same type of training that we deliver in mid-sized companies, Fortune 500 teams, in terms of going and socially surrounding your current client base, how to do that, how to nurture and develop those relationships. A lot of the things that Bryn teed up yesterday, we're going to take a deep dive into that and beyond. We're going to look at leveraging that to prospect. And prospecting right now is easy, certainly easier if we do it out of the context of the relationship network that we have. So we're going to teach you our strategies for prospecting, leveraging your relationships. And then also together, we're going to, this is all about action. The intensive is all about taking action. So together, we're going to challenge each other, hold each other accountable for developing habits to nurture and encourage our networks. And I think actually, when you think about this, when you think about the intensive, I think one of the best things out of this that I'm actually really looking forward to is having a group of people to be accountable to for action. And, when it comes to being a top performer, if you want to be in the top 1% in sales, top 10% on your team, whatever your percent threshold is, there's a level of accountability, and it needs to be a friendly relational accountability, not a boss with a stick. The boss is going to hold you accountable for minimum outcomes. We're going to hold each other accountable for top performance.
And I think that's what top performers do is they have a deep burning desire to hold themselves accountable. It's up to them, but then they also surround themselves with people that can hold them accountable by sharing what they're going to be doing.
Okay, this next section, I'm fired up about this, Larry, because I love the concept of value, maximizing profit, protecting margins. Over the last 17 years, I've had the opportunity. I started doing sales training in 2004, and the core of sales training was around helping people, helping reps develop business acumen and establish value. That's actually where I met you, Larry. We met years ago.
You came into my company.
I did. I think you invited me in, by the way, and thank you for that.
I felt sorry for you.
Oh, thanks. And you still do, I know. But the whole idea behind this, excuse me, after 10 days of the challenge, I'm losing my. All right. The whole idea behind this is to say, what can we do to uncover the outcomes that our clients value the most? What can we do to communicate those more effectively so that not only we're maximizing our profit, we're also, more importantly, maximizing the value we're bringing to the table? Obviously, there's competitive advantage that comes out of that. there's urgency. There's, as we were talking about yesterday, the biggest competitor is the status quo,
Yep.
especially right now in uncertainty. So maximizing value is paramount right now. And this is something that I'm passionate about. I have the opportunity to do this when I'm not working with Larry and selling from the heart. I'm working with companies, helping them establish their value propositions and communicate them in a way that that maximizes value. So I think you're absolutely going to love this part. I can't wait to take everyone on a tour and really extrapolate and be able to communicate value. And I think it's what I forget which of our speakers said, if you can combine the relational component with the value component. It was probably Meredith. Meredith,
It's either Meredith or Andy Franco.
Yeah, when you get both of those going at the same time, relationships and value, then you're unstoppable because you've got the trust and you've got, the value that is going to help move over the inertia of the status quo. And that's where we really want to aim. This, authenticity is, it's like Jack Hubbard said, authenticity is not just a feel good thing, it's action. And we want to really take a deep dive into both that relational and the value side of it. And I'm so excited about this because I know that together these two are going to help a lot of people make a lot of money in a year where, I don't know what's ahead, but I know that we've got to up our game. So I'm excited about that, Larry.
Yeah, it goes back to, and I keep going back to this Brent Adamson moment because I think this is how this all ties together. Is I remember on the podcast, we were talking about how the challenger sale and selling from the heart kind of come together.
Mm-hmm.
And I had asked him on the podcast, where do you see some of the struggles with salespeople today as they're calling into mid-level to executive level decision makers? And what was really interesting, and this plays out throughout what Darrell and I are touching on, is Brent Adams said this through their Gartner research during COVID. They had said that they've uncovered that salespeople lack self-confidence.
Mm-hmm.
They lack believability, not only believability in themselves, but believability in their messaging.
Mm-hmm.
And they struggle with self-worth. Now, think about those three things. Now, Gartner's doing this research in companies that are $100 million a year and above worldwide. And this is what they're uncovering with salespeople.
Yeah. Well, this is, and my experience has been, this is true. Some of the people I know that are on here and have been a part of the challenge are part of
the insiders group,
largest companies in the world, and other people are solopreneurs and all of that. It doesn't matter whether you run a small organization or you work for, the Fortune 100, whatever. It doesn't matter. Value and relationships are still the concepts are very, very similar. And it's so good. I agree, Dave. The inside's got to match the outside, and that's what we're aiming at. Now, I don't want to claim that we've created something 100% brand new here, but I've never seen a training and development program. And really, this is more along the lines of coaching than training. But I've never seen a program in the sales space that combines all of this together, and that's why I'm so fired up about it. What I'm really excited about is the action component. So, Larry, you call me a nerd. Well, I'll tell you where I'm a nerd.
Well, you are a nerd. I don't even have to call you a nerd. I know you're a nerd.
Well, fortunately, I found a sweet Southern girl that likes nerds to marry me, and she thinks I'm wonderful. So,
but by the way, just a side note, this is so everyone knows I do like nerds, but I like these nerd rope candies. That's like if there's anything, and my kids know it, every month they get me a box of nerd ropes. So I do geek out on nerd ropes.
Well, one of the things that I am I'm passionate about is taking action. And it was funny because we were talking the other day. I went to business school, and the business school had a sales course and a sales management course in it, which is really kind of funny because I actually found the textbook the other day, and it was from the late 80s. But when I was in college doing my sales course, I actually developed a sales planner as a project. And then when I got my first job in sales, the company I worked with had a 90-day planner. I didn't like it, so I rebuilt it. And over the last 25 years now, Larry, I've been Dave wants to know what nerd rope is. So why don't you send him some of those with his t-shirt?
I'll hey, Tegmar, I'll stuff it in an envelope. But it's just candies around licorice. That's all it is. But so we're gonna get sidetracked. I'll put it in an envelope and I'll send it to you.
Well, so anyhow, over the last 25 years, I've been really working on planners and design. I love designing them and all of that. And about 2 years ago, I found that my life, and I'm also a nerd, so I've got every iPad, iPod, you name it. I've got every gadget known to man. I found that I was missing appointments. Like they weren't written in my mind. They were on my digital calendar. So I started planning my day every day on paper, and actually ended up creating my own planner. It's called an impact journal. But right now I've begun the process of updating and redesigning this around the core components of authentic selling. And I'm so excited about that. And what we're going to be able to do is we're going to take all the components that we know work: daily gratitude, inspirational quotes, things we're looking forward to. What are we going to do for our hearts, our minds, our bodies, our relationship network? What are we going to do to add value? We're going to build all those things together into our daily plan, along with, as soon as we're done with this call, Larry, I'm heading out to do my weekly planning session. And I do that every Saturday morning, usually about this time. And I'll plan the week. And that's all based on my quarterly planner. And all of that blends together, both action, goals, and the private transformation stuff. So I'm so excited to customize all of that. And we're going to have, as part of this, you're going to get access to the authentic action planning system. So we'll coach you through a quarterly vision. And this is going to take what many of you have done in the Selling from the Heart self-reflection journal. It's going to take it to another level. We're going to coach you through weekly planning. We're going to do that together, and daily action, and then reflecting back on the week and making adjustments. Now, I know some of you go, paper-based planner, Darrell, come on, it's 2021. Are you kidding me? I would say
it's when you write it. It's when you write it down, it does something to your brain.
When you write it, it engages your mind, your body, and your heart. And so I'm going to challenge you to do it. And you're welcome to use the documents on your computer if you want. But this is going to be a core part, because this was I'm going to say this was something that we added during the week, because we realized that, like, Jack Hubbard challenged me I think Jack talked for 3 minutes?
Yeah.
While you were scrambling, by the way, to get back online. Jack, when he said authenticity without action is nothing, it unlocked something for me. And that's where I realized we got to pull all of this together. And that's why we wanted to do this intensive, so we take action. Yeah, by the way, go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt, Darrell, but I think this is why it's so important. And as I was listening to what you were saying, I look back on, almost 30 years in the sales channel that I grew up in, and I grew up in the office technology channel in Los Angeles. There wasn't one training, one workshop that ever had me doing the things that Darrell and I are speaking about, because let's just face it. I mean, let's just look at all the sales training that we've all gone to. It's always skill centered or it's product centered for the vast majority.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nothing. I haven't seen anything that you spend days or even extended period of time where you work on yourself. And then you tie it into how this affects sales. It's just a small, what we do is a small component, and everybody knows that, whether it's an SKO, whether it's a 1 day, 2 day, 3 day workshop y'all go to, it's all product centric skill training.
Yeah. And that's what I think is going to be so special about this. And we're so excited for those of you who want to come along on the journey. There is, I'm going to put the link across the bottom. You probably saw it in your email. Here's the deal. I think one of the questions that came in from Joan was, can we review the recordings? The answer is yes, absolutely. So as part of this, we've got the recordings. They're going to be taken down publicly on Monday because they are, we had a lot of people who were very kind to donate their time and expertise. So they won't be available publicly after Monday. But they will be available to all of us inside the intensive. So we'll have 6 months access to those, which is really good because so many of those we need to go back and take some notes on. And it's going to be really powerful. The other thing we're going to do is during the 90-day intensive, everybody is going to get a membership to the Insiders group. And by the way, for those of you who are listening in, I see a bunch of our insiders in here.
Yeah, they are. I see them.
If in the Insiders group, in case you didn't know or didn't pick up on it while over the last 10 days, it's a weekly group that gets together to mastermind, and we get to hang out with up close and personal with many of the types of people that we hung out with in the challenge. The difference is we just get an hour to ask them questions, and it's really, really cool. The Insider group meets every Friday at lunchtime, and it's $29.
Lunchtime Eastern.
Lunchtime Eastern, right? That's noon. Is that right? 11 Central, 12. Yeah, 12 noon Eastern. But anyhow, if you're in the Insiders group, just use the code. We'll email it to you, but use the code INSIDER when you check out on the Authentic Selling Intensive, and you'll get $29 a month off. Basically, we just wanted to bundle all that together so that this is going to be something where not only to get access to the recordings, but we also thought, hey, let's do this as well. Yeah, Dave, you're right. The VIP group has 90 days access. We just added another 90 days, and they're inside our platform, the same platform that is going to be able to facilitate what I wanted to share with you next, which is not here. So Larry, what I want to share next, let me just awkwardly click between slides.
No, it's all good. And I think I know George Henderson's on this call, and he dropped me a message. So George, if you have any questions, because I'm sure you do, is drop it in the chat real quick for Darrell and I.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brian, you're right. The Insiders group is different than any other group I'm a part of too, and it's wonderfully different. But yeah, you'll have access to the recordings of the challenge, obviously access to the recordings of the intensive. And what we're going to do, and I noticed I don't have a slide here, but it is on the website, so we'll just talk you through it. We're going to, in the intensive, first of all, there is a private community. So all of the sessions from the intensive, along with daily encouragement from me and Larry around the topic we're working on that week, are all going to be in a private social network. So think Facebook without the pictures of Bernie Sanders. Think, Larry, that was funny. Come on, man.
No, I tell you what, I was walking up the treadmill this morning, and I almost wanted to say enough's enough, right? It's like everywhere I turn, I see a picture of Bernie Sanders somewhere, and I go, all right, when's it going to come to an end?
Well, now I'm just like, Larry, how can we do the Selling from the Heart Intensive without a picture of Bernie Sanders in the Selling from the Heart Intensive?
Don't do it.
Here's where I was going to go. Let me just share my screen. I'll show you, because many of you, what we wanted to get today is, and we'll wrap this up in a couple minutes here, but we want to share how it works. So here's how it works. There's going to be weekly live sessions. So every week we'll have a learning coaching session with a group. We're going to offer those twice a week and 2 times each week, mainly because we've got a lot of folks that came into the challenge, West Coast to East Coast, but we also had a lot of folks that came into the challenge from Europe and as far away as South Africa and all the way over to Australia, which is just mind-blowingly cool. So we're going to offer the sessions on Wednesday at 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific. That allows our Australian folks to get up early in the morning if they want. And then Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Pacific. And that's going to allow our European friends to get involved as well. And so you'll be able to come to either one or both. If you just liked it that much, you could come to both. And if you miss a week, not a problem. This is going to be set up so all of these are recorded and put in the mastermind community. So this would be a private social network. And that's where we get to work on all of this together with each other throughout the week. And we've been doing this in our corporate training program.
Yeah, and it's been
wonderful.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
So we learn together, but then as you're going through the week, we can go, hey man, I tried this and it didn't work. What do we do? And we've solved the problem together. So yeah, you're right, Sarah.
I think Brian Kelm's got a question too.
Yeah, Brian, on the Insiders Group platform, will our membership be updated automatically with complimentary months allocated? Yes, we have very smart people that will figure that out, Brian. So we'll
more technologically sound than Darrell and I put together.
That's right. We will figure it out, all of that. So here's the deal. And we're going a little bit longer than we thought, but I hope everyone's having fun this morning. It's so fun seeing the comments. And if you're watching in later, we love you, and all of this. So what's the investment? Well, when we were thinking about all this, first of all, the cool thing, we do a lot of our core business is doing corporate training. So we train corporate sales teams for large companies, mid-sized companies. And as we're doing that, what's neat about this is we get involved in doing the relational side, the value side. We don't have the opportunity to take it as an explicit a dive into the heart, the mind, and the body as we're going to go, which is really, I'm so excited about. So this is,
I mean, we're actually, what I really like about it is we're actually going places that most trainers won't go.
Yeah, absolutely. And so so here's where we're going with this. This isn't free. We've tried to make it very affordable. And I think that any of you would agree that, one deal is gonna more than cover this for you. In fact, we put a guarantee on it. We said, look, here's the deal. If you participate in this and you don't feel like you got at least 3 times the investment you made out of it within 6 months, just let us know. We'll give your money back. I think everyone on this call today is confident that when we take action on this together, we're all going to win. Yeah. And so we've set it up. So we just want to make it easy. This is about, 63% off what we would normally do at a corporate level. We're doing that for 2 reasons. 1, we love you. 2, we wanted to make it accessible. But 2, we also know that when you're successful, you're going to tell your company about it. So that's why we also came up with an idea. If you want to get this for free, or if you want to get your tuition back, here's how you do it. If you refer us, Larry, at any point, during or after this through to your company, and your company does a paid engagement for one of Selling from the Heart's programs, we'll refund 110% of your tuition back. So you'll get all 3 months of $333. What's that math? $999.
Yeah.
Plus we'll throw another $100 in just as a thank you. And that way you can invest in yourself. And if you want to bring that to your team, you can do that. So we've tried to make this as accessible as possible. And our hope is that, I hope y'all sign up. I hope y'all are a part of this journey with us, because it's going to be really, really good. And we're going to really, Larry, I'm kind of at loss for words here about how thankful I am that this is all coming together right now at this point in time. It's really cool.
It goes back to the word Darrell, vision. And Darrell and I love casted vision. I mean, we consistently talk. There's probably not a day that goes by that Darrell and I aren't talking multiple times a day, besides all the other things that we do. And one of the things that we're always doubling down on each other, and we're pushing each other. And this was a vision that just, over time's come to fruition. But, it's my challenge out there is those people that do the work see the benefits. And there's a couple people that are on this call. There's actually a couple others that I'm thinking of that have done the deepest work I've ever seen, that have flourished through this past year, but it's the work they did prior. And it goes back to, it's this inner work. It's the stuff that Darrell and I are speaking about, that if you double down on what's inside you, the outer stuff becomes a whole heck of a lot easier. That's what I'm excited about.
Absolutely. I just want to add one other thing. If you have any other questions, let us know in the chat. But this is our friend Derek, and Derek has been making an investment. I know he won't mind us saying this. He's been, you've been coaching Derek and working with him one-on-one. And so I know that, Larry, that you have a limited bandwidth and able to coach reps one-on-one. However, for those who you are coaching right now one-on-one, you're part of the intensive. So that's part of your coaching package. We just decided to do that. And you'll notice when you check out from the intensive, there is an option for one-on-one coaching with Larry. And it's an add-on. And once again, we can't do that for everybody. We have limited bandwidth. However, if you do elect to do some one-on-one coaching, and it's a great way to really go deep, the amount of tuition for the intensive is included right now in the coach with the normal coaching cost. So that, once again, we're trying to do everything we can to make this accessible so we can all join in together and really make a difference this year.
There's one thing I want to touch on before we wrap up, and I noticed George Henderson's comment, and I'm going to peel this back a little bit, George, on the word community. What's been really cool about this and the accountability, I'm going to zero right back into the insiders group. Just follow along with me, Darrell, and everybody on this, is those that are in the insiders group. You have seen you've gotten some access to some really cool people, but more importantly is the people that are in the insiders group have become friends. They've hold themselves accountable. But I know I'm drawing a blank. Jackie Joy. I'll use Jackie Joy and Liz Wendling. They become friends through this. It's rare that you get access on a deep level like this to some of these people.
Yeah.
And it's not only it's the accountability that you create amongst yourselves, but it's the access and the accountability that you have from some of the coolest thought leaders that are out there as well.
Well, I want to add to that too. And this is what I really enjoy about the insiders group. And I know this same dynamic is going to flow through to what we're doing here is we have people from all different industries and different parts of the country. And so I think, and one of my biggest, I'm a huge fanboy of a guy named Jay Abraham. He's a marketing guru. And he says in the marketing world, you get your best ideas from companies outside your industry. And we're watching that happen. And I know that's going to happen here. Well, Larry, we've gone a little bit over the time. We got really excited about this. I want to leave us though with a quote from, this quote's so good. Let's just put this up. This was we met Marnie Schneider along the way in doing the Selling from the Heart podcast. And this was, set this up, Larry. You can't collect if you don't invest.
Yeah, I'll set this up. So I actually met, Marnie's a good friend of mine. I met her originally because the not-for-profit organization that she represents out of New York City, Scott McGregor, who's a near and dear friend of both Darrell and I, we wrote a chapter in a book called Standing O. So in the first Standing O, I go to the book launch party. It's in New York City. And I meet Marnie Schneider, and you never know. I'm a big believer. You never know backstory until you know someone's backstory. Long story short, our kids went to school together, though we didn't know it, in Southern California because she was living not too far from me at the time. But nevertheless, I have her come on the podcast. And Marnie Schneider's grandfather was Leonard Tose. And Leonard Tose used to own the Philadelphia Eagles. And one of the quotes that her grandpa had in his locker room, in the Eagles locker room, and in his office was, if you fail to invest, you'll never be able to collect. And what was really interesting about that, and Marnie expanded upon it on the podcast, is her grandfather, Leonard, was really big into relationships. He had a strong relationship with Dick Vermeil, who was the head coach at the time of Philadelphia Eagles. And he had said openly all the time, I invest in my players, in the relationships, and in my coaching staff personally as the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles. And then I just played off of that. And I said, hey, listen, right, salespeople, if relationships mean a lot, you must invest in them. Yeah. If you want to collect, well, the same thing applies to yourself. Is if you want to invest in yourself, then you'll be able to collect on yourself. But what happens if we don't invest, we don't collect. If you don't put any money in the bank, if you don't put anything in your 401k, nothing grows.
That's right. And so we're asking you to do that. And part of that's the commitment. And I know, I'm just reflecting back over the last year. I personally invested in myself over 10 times what, we're asking you to invest in this program here. And it's paying off. It is paying off. And this is the secret of every professional athlete, every professional anything, is that they invest in themselves. And Dave Sanderson really said it well in the beginning of his book. He said, look, if you're going to grow, you gotta put the time and the investment in. And if we get a chance to be part of your investment in yourself in 2021, we'd be deeply honored. And I know we're going to have a great time. So
Larry, hey, so real quick, time out real quick, because you mentioned Dave Sanderson.
Yes.
So if we all can do, those that are watching, if you can do me a favor, it would mean a lot to Dave Sanderson. Today is actually Dave Sanderson's birthday.
Oh, cool. Happy birthday, Dave.
So those that have BombBomb, or if you want to stick your phone in front of your face, why don't you go ahead and drop a happy birthday wish to Dave Sanderson and send it to him? That would be awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, everybody, once again, thank you. We are going to be back here on Monday, though. We do have a bonus session Monday, 12 o'clock Eastern time, same time as the challenge was every day last week. We'll be here with Steve Passanelli. He's going to coach us on the human side of video. And I've got a preview of that training. And I got to tell you, it's worth showing up on Monday.
Hey, do you want to do the little secret? Hey, do you want to do the little secret real quick past Monday?
There's a little secret. Oh, yeah, we do have. Well, we do have a little secret. So since you guys got up on Saturday morning and came,
we have to tell them
this. The following Monday, many of you met
February 1st.
Yeah, February 1st. We didn't want to do it at the end of closeout week on a month. So February 1st, we also have Dave Clancy, author of
Clancy Clark.
Dave Clancy.
Clancy, nerd.
This is live television. Clancy Clark is showing up. You're going to love Clancy. So come back also on February 1st, a little bonus session. We'll have Clancy Clark. So, hey, I appreciate everyone being on board. It's great seeing in the chat, Alan, that you're on board, and see other folks that are going to be committing to this. And we're really looking forward to going on this journey together. And Larry, man, I love you. I'm excited about where this is all headed. And we're going to
don't make me cry on a weekend. You know I love you.
Have a great day, everyone.